Welcome back to the channel. Click like, subscribe wherever it's at on your screen. So, still waiting on household goods to arrive. They told us roughly 82 days, basically 3 months. It's just due to the shipping backlogs, everything else. So, still holding the phone. We got everything we need though. Plants, little kitty, coffee, stuff. More plants. Yeah, and feathers. We keep finding feathers, and we collect them. So, so talking, on here, I'll mention my wife, and how she's this support structure, like just amazing support structure for me, like, and feel comfortable with talking about a lot of things, with her. She is my sounding board. I do bounce things off of her, ask for her opinion, her thoughts. Not as often as I probably should, but definitely for important things. I truly feel like I can talk with her pretty much about anything now. It took a long time to get there. There was always a reservation with just talking with anybody, not specifically her, but feel safe exposing these things, talking about these things. And one of the things we were talking about the other night was kind of where I've been for the last year, internally, the struggle that I've had. Just very briefly about it, and trying to open up and actually not have any of the typical reservations. Now, I wouldn't just walk up to someone on the street and be like, blah. She is that support structure for me. She is my confidant. She is like the best friend that I've ever had, overall. And talking about kind of this past year after transitioning out of the Army, came up with having a lot of doubts about myself, self-doubt, and just doubt in general, and kind of like, where do I fit into this thing of life now that I don't have the Army? And so with the Army, you have your position, you have your rank. That is what you fall back on, so like in the Army, I was Sergeant First Class Engle at the end, and even throughout the career, I was Angry Corporal Engle, because people are like, corporals are one of the worst ranks ever because you're an NCO, but you're not. You're expected to do NCO things, but you're not given all the little extras that the NCOs are given, like the actual hard stripe NCOs are given. And then the positions, I was, basically the supply person, the Class 8 manager for the battalion. I was, treatment NCO. I was evac NCO, whatever, title it is, the SEL for the emergency department. That is your position that you are. And, so you have those things. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you have the other doubts, like, am I going to do a good job? This is something new and foreign to me, and so you kind of find ways to manage that, throughout, and you kind of fall back on what you know. And that was my thing. It's like, I would fall back on what I knew, and, it was kind of basic soldiering stuff within those realms where they were so foreign to me. But once I transitioned out, I was no longer Sergeant First Class Engle. I was no longer Corporal Engle. I was no longer, Battalion Class 8 manager. I was no longer SEL. I was Mr. Engle, husband to, active duty member, and father of 2 toddlers, primary caregiver. And so I didn't have kind of the things to quite fall back on. So I started going through, and the last few episodes, I've not exactly done my PCCs, PCIs leading up to it. I mean, I've did the thought process of it, kind of developed a general thing, and kind of like went off the cuff and, baptism by fire and just got it done. This time I got my notes, sorry. There's Stanley, S36, and a couple other friends there. Enjoying the mist from the humidifier there. So, but with the doubt, and doubt is good. That's one thing that, a lot of people are like, oh, they're so confident in this and that. And that's good. That's fine that you're confident, but having some doubt about things helps drive you to, and helps you strive to be better. Not to the point of being arrogant, because it very quickly can turn into or be perceived as arrogance. I used to be that guy that was very arrogant, very confident and self-assured of job role, what I was doing, because I knew the system, I knew how it was supposed to function, I knew the paperwork, I knew all the stuff that needed to happen. And, it was kind of along the lines of, I'm sorry I can't hear you over the sound of my own awesomeness, because I'm doing this, I'm getting it done, and this is how it's supposed to be. That's that threshold that you don't want to go overboard with it. You want to help, you want to guide and mentor. And that's where your support structure comes in and says, hey, it's too much, or what's going on, the opposite ends of the spectrum here, but looking up the actual definitions from Oxford, doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction, feeling uncertain about something. But then the archaic, or the old language, is fear or being afraid. But then self-doubt is actually listed in there as well, as lack of confidence in oneself and one's abilities. So transitioning out of something that I knew how to do for 20 plus years into something that is ever evolving and ever changing, day to day is completely different. Yesterday, the kids may have liked bananas, and then all of a sudden today they may not like bananas. They may say they hate bananas, and it's just trying to deal with that in a productive manner to where, okay, today's not a banana day. Great. And not getting so down on yourself. Now, what I personally, all this is personal, like I said in a couple episodes before, I'm not a licensed person for anything as far as mental health, behavioral health. These are my own observations of myself. And it's just hopeful thinking that it might, just kind of help someone out there. But the persistent thoughts of doubt and self-doubt, which I kind of was stuck in, I was ruminating in them, like, am I doing a good job? Even though being told you're doing a good job, it's good to hear that. But at the same time, it's also, for me, it was very hard to believe because, every day was different, and every day is still different, but it's learning how to process that and kind of manage expectations and manage myself for this. But as far as having the persistent thoughts, it can lead to anxiety, depression, procrastination, low self-esteem, difficulty in making decisions, even, normal decisions. We talked about choices. Once you start doubting yourself, am I doing a good job? Is this the right choice? It's hard because you start to develop, let me rephrase that. Sorry. I started to develop a lot of concerns for myself. And then, so some of the stuff, I was checking notes and writing stuff down. So, started wondering, what is wrong with me? What is going on? Why am I no longer this fully functioning adult? I'm going through the daily life of making sure that, my family's taken care of, that I'm doing everything I can, and that we are safe and surviving and living and breathing and sleeping and eating and drinking. But yet I'm just like, I have to be doing something wrong. There's something wrong with what I'm doing. I'm not doing it well enough. And these, were kind of some of the constant thoughts, like I wasn't good enough for the things I was doing. I was trying, and I just, in my brain, it kept telling me, you're not good enough. You aren't trying hard enough. You aren't doing the right things. Nothing you're going to do is ever going to end up being good enough because you're just not there. You're not a professional at this. You don't have the training. You don't have the expertise. These were the heavy ruminations and spiraling down the drain type thoughts, and basically it was discrediting myself. I wasn't trusting my gut instinct. And that's another thing. It's like once you start having these doubts, like you stop, and we talked about very briefly, one of the procrastination, or even honestly just stopping. Like you stop listening to that intuition that you naturally may have. Is this a good thing or not? Like you start second guessing everything you're doing, and it gets very hard because you're just stuck in that, and you're like, do I go left or do I go right? And then you're just kind of stuck, and you wait and you wait and you wait, and then you get frustrated. Like for me, I got very frustrated with myself, and then I kind of lashed out. And I tried to revert back to what I knew, but I couldn't because I'm not in the Army anymore. I'm no longer Sergeant First Class Single. I couldn't help and reach out to do the things that I know should be happening. And when I did, I tried reaching out to people to help situations, or what I thought was helping situations. In reality, it was not. It actually caused the situation to be worse. And then, that fed right back into that self-doubt of, why is this not working? Because this person should have been able to correct the problem that was going on. And all it did is kind of blew up, spiraled out of control. So then I'm like, man, I see, even with that, it just kind of fed back into it, kind of that self-feeding and almost a self-sabotage type level of things that were just no good for me, but it's rough. All right. I mean, there's no clear-cut answer how to stop it, how to deal with it, how to process it. And because what works for you one day may not work that very next day, may not even work later on that same day. It's just trying to process things and let them go, and we talked about mindfulness a few episodes back. Still do the daily reading and everything else, and do the meditating and breath work, and the tone therapy, like still talk with someone with the VA, like all these things are just the tools to go for it, so, but as far as, the doubt and self-doubt, like I said, having some of that is good because it allows you to try to strive to be better. So one of the quotes, I believe it came from, where are we? Sorry, I wrote it down. I know I wrote it down. I just got to find it. And I'm probably going to butcher the name. I'm not trying to, but it's Amin Aid. It's Amine. Last name is Ayad. And it's be humble to see your mistakes, courageous to admit them, and wise enough to correct them. And that's where I'm trying to, make sure that these things are taken care of as I can, that I'm sharing this to hopefully help someone with the same type of thing. But how do we get out of it? We have to change how we talk to ourselves for sure. Because, like I said, I was having those thoughts of I'm not good enough, nothing I'll ever do will be good enough. And it just kept building, kept ruminating. what is wrong with me? Those type of thoughts, like, why can't I get this right? I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying. It just never seems to be enough. And that's where we have to stop. It's that mind think, and that's part of the resiliency that they do teach you in the Army. Is that's one of the little resiliency things is that mind think, and you get stuck in it, and it's very hard to get out of it. It's kind of like this muck or mire that is just in your brain. This will not let you go. Focus on your passions and develop them, whether you like doing arts and crafts, or you like collecting feathers, or you like whatever it is that you are very passionate about outside of that, something that brings, if it's just nature and going for hikes, looking at birds, listening to the wind, going to the beach, just have that as a part of your support structure built in. And then the support structure, I am grateful that I have had my wife to help me through this, and and I hope that I am able to be that support structure for her as well. And then don't, as far as your support structure, this is where it becomes very, I don't want to say quirky, but if you have a support structure that you constantly fall back to that is positive, then that's a good thing. But if they are not a positive influence, and they, you kind of go back to the same friends who are doing the same things that you were doing in like high school, or a support structure that is not truly supportive of you and improving, and they only kind of, because we like think, what I think of is in my 20s, had those groups of friends who would always go out party, just would drink, and it was just all about the here and now, living in the moment. And that's fine. That's, if it is a positive type thing and helping you improve, then good. But if it is something that is only going to foster these types of thoughts, and kind of tell you that, oh, you're great, but this, then it's not. I'm kind of getting lost on that one, but you need to have that positive, actual support structure of helping the improvement there. You don't want to go back to the people who just are not allowing you to grow, allowing you to have that growth. I mean, if they're distracting you, we need distraction sometimes, but if that's all it is a distraction, a constant distraction from it, then it's not allowing you to grow. And that's where, that personal growth needs to come from. And then, so I got, build resilience. We just talked about that with them, helping build, changing the way we talk to ourselves, changing our mind think, stopping the spiraling down the drain, be decisive, and, the support structure, and it took me a long time to realize that I need to share a lot of these things with my support structure, because I used to think I can handle this, I can manage this on my own, I'm strong. The Army gave me all these tools. I don't need to bother or burden my support structure, my wife with them. And that's not true. It's not that I'm bothering her or burdening her with them. It's just I don't want to keep any secrets from her. Now, I'll keep like the good stuff. Like if there's a surprise coming for her, then I'll definitely keep, those types of things. But as far as opening myself up to her, she is my support structure. She's the one who I will not, keep any of these things inside anymore. There's no secrets. There's no lies about, oh, I'm okay, I'm good. It's like, how are you feeling? Well, I am okay. I'm tired. I'm feeling under the weather, or I'm having a low energy day, or, I'm frustrated, or I'm working through things, whatever it is, that's going to be what happens from me. There's no need to try and keep it in, because, this is the person I love. This is a person that I want to share these things with, and it doesn't have to be a spouse. It can be, family, someone that, it can be, I don't even know, like, just whoever your support structure actually is not keeping that stuff from them, because they want to see you do well. They want to help you. They want to help that personal growth. But man, doubts and self-doubts, it could be a big grand change of things, or, you don't ever know where that trigger event is going to come from. But once you're able to identify your trigger events, then you're able to help change and redirect that process of, instead of going immediately left, you're like, okay, let me go ahead and recenter. Let me go ahead, and it's okay to have the thoughts and move side to side with them. But, it's acknowledging them. Yes, I'm having this doubt. I'm not doing a good job. What can I do to make sure that I'm doing a better job? How can I improve? And then one of today's readings, very, I guess, fortuitous, or not fortuitous, but serendipitous probably is a better word. By playing it safe, we may avoid fear and anxiety, but we may also miss out the big chunks of life. Much of our fears stem from our imagination, what we think might happen if we tried something different. And I think that is a huge piece of it. It's our imaginations, which are great. They're powerful. They do a lot of great things and allow us to be creative, but they also can hold us back. They can crush us. They can just debilitate us so badly that we just don't move. We don't keep that forward progression. You have to find what works for you. You have to find a way to change that thinking and not necessarily stop it. You're not necessarily going to be able to stop that thinking. You can change it. You can modify it. And you can change how you process it. Hang in there. We're all in this together. I'm going to start doing these episodes probably about once a week. I'll make sure to keep doing my PCCs, PCIs on it. But hang in there. We're all in this together. Just be patient with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be patient with others. Be honest with others. And see you next time.